Now joining me on set is NBC News' chief political analyst, Chuck Todd, and Eugene Daniels, the White House correspondent for Politico and an NBC News senior political analyst. Okay, so Chuck, nobody's covered more of these VP rollouts than you. Talk us down from this. We get excited for a day, but in the grand scheme of things, what's this really going to mean?
Oh, I think in 2 weeks, I think we're going to be talking. I think Vance is going to be more of a talking point than Walz, to be honest. I think that ultimately, look, Kamala Harris has a lot of blanks she's still got to fill in over the next 30 days. She hasn't had any interviews, any sit-downs. She does, at some point, going to have to answer questions as to why she was for fracking or against fracking. Now she's for it. All these little things that have been come up because it's been such a whirlwind of the last 3 weeks. And so I think when that starts to happen, that we start to dial back. But we are learning a little something about her in this process. Here's what I took away from it. I think she cared about party unity. I think we can have a debate after the election whether she should be worried about these things or not. But I am empathetic to the idea she just became the leader of the party in the last couple of weeks. The last thing she needs at her convention in 2 weeks is dissension over Gaza, school vouchers, immigration, which all would have come with Mark Kelly or Josh Shapiro. So I understand that decision of let's not do any harm, let's keep the party together. So I get the process there. I think some progressives are going to take away from this process, oh, she cares about what's happening on TV. She cares about who's defending. And I think this has always been something that the vice president's been frustrated with the Biden White House, that they don't care about this enough. And I think she sees Tim Walz as, hey, this guy's pretty good at pushing back at the right wing. And I think she wants a defender. She would have loved to have played that defender herself. She would have loved to have somebody defended her from Fox News attacks. And I think she's looking forward to that aspect. So I did learn something about her and the presidency I think that she wants to conduct here. I also think that, she believes she's ideologically in the middle of the Democratic Party, and she thought it was beneficial to pick somebody that she shares the same vision with. And I think it's fair to say her and Walz are on the same page.
So, Eugene, you wrote today, you called it Walz-mentum this morning. You can have
Walz
the
Walz being right.
I can have Walz to Walz cover.
You get the trademark on that. What could run out of gas sooner, though? Kamala Harris's sugar high or Walz-mentum? What are we talking about here?
It's unclear. So far the sugar high has lasted. But I think you're right on Walz and whether or not people are going to care about this in a couple of weeks, right? In a couple of weeks, we do have the convention, so they'll have a rollout of him. But it's going to be about her, right? The reason that you're hearing in the party is people being like, yeah, we wanted Shapiro, but we're happy it's Walz. We wanted her to pick because people are looking at her as the solution, right? For Vice President Harris, and I talked to her team, people that were on her vetting, they were looking for, and she was looking for someone that she really got along with, right? And so on Saturday, after when they were doing all these presentations about these three men at the end of the day, they said to her, we think that Walz may be the guy you have the most compatibility with personality-wise. Right. In the interview, she clearly felt that, right? That was something that was really important to her. She also really liked, like you're saying, that defender. They love the idea, even though Vivek Ramaswamy doesn't, that he went around and called Donald Trump and J.D. Vance weird. Right. That was something that ended up sticking, and that hasn't really been, it's really hard to define Donald Trump, and that he had an ability to do that. Yeah. He seems like a dad, right? Like a Midwestern dad, and they think he plays in Pennsylvania as well as Michigan and Wisconsin. You saw him in his video today, he had like a camo hat on, which is not very Democrat of him, right? They like that he went hunting, those kinds of things. And she liked that he had multiple terms as governor, right? That's what she was kind of looking for in her pick. Now, whether or not people are going to stay upset about or worried that she didn't pick Shapiro because Pennsylvania is the whole ball game, right? If you pick Shapiro, you probably have a better chance there. But it seems to us that Shapiro, when we've been talking to his camp all day, he's going to do everything he would have done, if he was the running mate. He's going to be out there for it. He's going to be out there tonight at this
rally.
And
maybe Pennsylvanians want him to stay anyway.
Exactly, right? Like one of the things that he made clear to the Harris camp was that he wasn't sure if he was ready to leave the gubernatorial.
Only been there 18 months.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a legitimate concern.
Yeah, he's like, I just got here, and I really like this job. And also, let's be real, he has his own presidential ambitions. Right. And it's not always clear that being vice president sets you up for the best success in him.
Yeah,
to
historically,
be president.
maybe it doesn't help, actually. What's interesting, I would like both of you to take on this. 70% of Americans say they don't know Tim Walz and don't have an opinion of him. Chuck, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it all depends on who wins the race to define him a little bit, right? I mean, I think, you know, the same thing was likely said about J.D. Vance. Probably wasn't at 70, may have been at 65%. I think it's been a disastrous rollout for him. He's been defined negatively. He's got some negative ratings. I think Walz certainly has gotten, will have a small leg up right now. There's a little bit of positive vibes on the Democratic side. They're going to, like, Republicans were divided on Vance. I don't think you're going to have Democrats divided on Walz here. But look, I was thinking about this. The three finalists all had sort of the one thing that would quickly stick with voters that was going to get talked about. With Shapiro, maybe it would have been two things, but I think the one thing would have been I-95, and sort of that would have been the thing we all would have relitigated. With Kelly, it had been the border and being an astronaut. With Walz, it could be George Floyd. And I think you can make an argument that can help in some cases the Harris ticket, but it's also a conversation I don't know if they want to have.
Right.
I think it's pretty clear. I heard Vivek, and I know the Trump campaign wants to have a Black Lives Matter conversation and use Tim Walz as that on that front. If I were to say if there's one thing about Walz that if that becomes the defining moment of his time as governor for a majority of voters, I don't know if that's the definition that the Harris campaign's going to want to have, but I don't know if that's going to be the case.
Is that a problem for Republicans, though, Eugene, in that they seem to have a hard time all deciding how they want to define someone, and they just throw a bunch of stuff out there and hope what sticks?
Yeah, and that's new for Republicans, right? Usually they get all on one message, they kind of go forward. But as we've seen ever since Vice President Harris took over this ticket, that Sunday even, they struggle to not only define her, figure out what the argument is about her. The same thing today with Tim Walz, right? What Vivek said sounds great, right? It sounds like exactly how Republicans, if they're really on get together, they would want to do. It's exactly probably how what Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles want, the people that run the Trump campaign. But this is about how Donald Trump is going to do that.
Tim Walz, by the way, Tim Walz, while he didn't have any hard races for governor, I'm not going to sit here and say he's governor. His races for House were difficult.
17%
right, and he went. They tried all of the, hey, you're a closet liberal, you're a real progressive. They tried all. He has some. It's one congressional district. I don't want everybody to go crazy that what it translates there. So in that sense, I think he is prepared for the onslaught. He's always kind of had to defend himself in quote-unquote enemy territory, right, when he was in a very purple district. So that experience, I think, will help him parry back some of the criticism.
Okay, we got to go, guys. Thank you. I appreciate it both. Chuck and Eugene, thanks so much for that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.